So this is what it sounds like with filter cutoff automation. Hi guys, SKETI here, welcome back to a new tutorial. This time we're going to look at how to make that sort of stereotypical bass house wob that you hear in a lot of like garage music, UK bass, and a little bit of the US bass sound as well. We're going to make it in Serum, so let's get to it. Right, so I've got my Serum here, and I'm just going to play back the notes. So again, I've written this in F, so it's F, F sharp, G sharp, and F sharp. But we'll just listen to it, it's just a sub at the moment. Just turn that sidechain compressor off. Cool. I'm just going to turn the reverb off for a second as well, because there's quite a few things going on in this, but the main thing that it's all about is this LFO controlling the filter to get that sort of sweep up and down, which is very stereotypical to this kind of music. So first thing I've done is I've set the octave of the sub to -1, and I'm also controlling the level of this sub oscillator with LFO 1, and that's set to 1/8 note. I can also change the open speed as well with the macro, which that's attached to the rate. And it's also set as an envelope, so it's not triggering all the time, so you have to draw in a new note every time you want this LFO to trigger, which is quite useful if you want to do some different kind of stuttered effects instead of it just constantly going around on itself. Cool, so yeah, that's what that sounds like. Now the reason why it sounds distorted is I've got the compressor set at the moment with multiband mode, with the gain set quite high, the threshold set quite low as well, and yeah, I've set the low band to 107%, the mid band to 126%, and the high band to 70%. Cool, so the next thing we've got is oscillator A, and that's just a square wave, random set all the way down, and also the octave set to -1 as well. So this is what that sounds like together. And that's there to mainly shape the sound, because what I've turned on is FM from B, which we're going to hear in a second, and that's set to the center point of the dial. So yeah, let's turn oscillator B on now. So this is basically, well, the basic shapes. And I've set it to +2 octave, set the random all the way down, and I've also used asymmetrical minus, and that's being controlled by, what is that being controlled by? So that's being controlled by a macro, and I'm controlling the wavetable position with this first dial FM tone, which is then changing the FM tone that's going into this. And this is slightly different to the original basic shape. So what I did is I kept these waveforms, and then I just set them off to spectral crossover. So every time this FM tone sweeps, which for some reason it's not doing it. There we go. So that's sweeping through instead of just basically jutting and changing to each waveform like the sine, then the sawtooth and the triangle. It's sweeping between them with a spectral crossover, and that's obviously affecting the FM section in this. So that's why it sounds quite different, and obviously we can sweep between all of the different sounds. Cool. And then obviously I can change the asymmetrical minus section as well with this macro. And obviously that gives us some more tonality changes as well. And then the filter, which is set to MG low 18, I've set the resonance to 17%, and this LFO is controlling the cutoff as well. And this is where the main majority of the sound comes. We can actually turn the fat up on this as well, so let's have a listen. Cool, and then we can start shaping the sound of it to how we want it to sound. Nice one. So the last thing I think, also envelope 1 is attached to the master tuning. So as you can see, this is a very fast sweep down, and that's just basically to have that pitch change in. That's all it's there for. Sorry, on this one here on envelope 2. So yeah, envelope 2 is just attached to the master tune, and it just sweeps down, so you've got that transient sort of hit at the beginning. Cool, we've also set it to mono because it's a bass sound as well. Right, let's have a look at the effects. So I've got hyperdimension, as I often do, retriggering, mix down to 16%. I haven't actually used the dimension in this because I'm focusing on with the reverb. I've also used a bit of tube distortion, set the drive to 25%. I've then turned on the filter, and I've got a band 12, and that's just to basically cut off a notch in the bottom end, which is now obviously we're more getting into that sort of style of the bass house sound that we want. I've then also used the EQ, and again just another notch in the bottom end, which is at 210 Hz. Sorry, no, it is at 147 Hz because for some reason I've used the high one, but yeah. Fantastic. And then the reverb, and this is being controlled by envelope 2. And if we just zoom out on that, so yeah, this reverb's coming in over time with this low cut and high cut. So that's sort of sweeping up just to affect the sound. We can listen to that now. And I've also set the this macro here to the reverb size, so I can decide how big or small the reverb is. And then obviously again we can go through and manipulate the sound of this bass. Nice one. And we can change the open speed as well. Cool, and obviously it's always good to listen to this alongside something else. So I'm just going to turn the multiband compressor on, and this is with just a house beat behind it as well. So this is the bass that we've created. And obviously as well we can experiment with the cutoff as well. I could have maybe attached that to the mod wheel as well, so we can use the mod wheel on the keyboard to change how much that cutoff is changing, but we could change the automation of that over time. And actually I think I'll do that quickly. I'm just going to automate that filter cutoff, so it starts at the beginning, yeah, like so, and maybe not too high. Let's bring that down a bit. So this is what it sounds like with filter cutoff automation. Cool, so there you go, a dead quick way on how to make that sort of generic style with a little bit of a different bass house wob that we hear a lot in that kind of music. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, leave a like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see these videos more in the future. Leave a comment with any questions or suggestions for future videos too. I'm also now on Twitch now, where I live stream on a nighttime UK time, GMT time. And also I've got a Discord server where it's just basically a place to come and share some music. I'll give feedback, me making some tunes, so on and so forth. So yeah, everyone is welcome to join that. Anyway guys, I shall see you next time. Bye.
Everybody jump up.